Block subsidiary rather, Spiral, is working with mining firm Braiins to spearhead new Bitcoin mining upgrades. As a disclosure, I do work for a Bitcoin mining company, but I have nothing to do with this update at all. It is a larger update for the Bitcoin ecosystem, and that's why it's important to see a firm like Block, which is quite large and has very large handholds in the traditional finance world, working so in like a detailed manner fashion with a team like Braiins, which is both a mining pool and also a development firm for Bitcoin mining. What they're launching here is Stratum V2. It's a new way to decentralize how Bitcoin mining works, further decentralize Bitcoin, make Bitcoin stronger against censorship attacks, making sure that anyone who is mining on the network can actually mine without having to use a pool, for instance. It's a pretty big update, and it's great to see Jack Dorsey's firm continuing to put more effort into updating Bitcoin. The one thing I want to note before we throw this away is like these updates with Bitcoin are often so boring, but they're concrete and they're important, right? A lot of times we talk about stable coins, talk about Ethereum updates, and those things feel very real because there's money involved with them, or there's an exchange, or I'm swapping some token. But with Bitcoin, Bitcoin's often very boring, has some really hard tech problems to get around, and that's why development is so slow. So seeing updates like this are really important because they don't come very often. David, I want to throw this one up to you, get your take on it.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide one quick clarification. So if you haven't heard of Braiins, which I'm not even sure how you pronounce it with the two I's, but it's formerly Slush Pool. So if you've been around for a while, that's it. They apparently rebranded. I'm not totally sure about the structure, but it is, as Will said, really amazing to see Block, form like an element of Square, talking to the people who used to be Slush Pool, who are, complete crypto natives, have been around for a long time. But there are definitely a lot of, if you're trying to get into the technical depths here, there's a lot of uncertainty, at least for me, looking at just the quick read through. So Will, I think a lot of us are going to have questions for you. And the first one is, how does censorship resistance, how does mining pool software have a role in censorship resistance? Do you have any insight there that you can kind of fill us in?
Yeah, I can throw some information your way. The first thing I want to note, though, is like this topic is technical enough, but both these companies have done so many rebrands, can't even keep things straight. So Block was formerly Square, which most people knew about them as, and their subsidiary Spiral, which used to be Square Crypto, is the one working on this.
Oh my
update.
God, I didn't even know that.
Braiins,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah, it's just insane. They got to keep it a little bit straight for everyone. Braiins is formerly Slush Pool, but they've rebranded as Braiins as of I think 2 months ago. What's happening here is Bitcoin mining is centralized on the pool level, where you have a few entities that run servers. You have all these Bitcoin mining machines all over the world. They point their Bitcoin mining machines at these pools. These pools then talk to the Bitcoin network, and the Bitcoin network gives them work, and it goes back down the stack to the pool and then back to the machine. And so you have work going from the machines all the way to the Bitcoin network, and then Bitcoin flowing back the other way to give you compensation for that work. The issue there, of course, is the pools. Like anyone who's looking at Bitcoin the first time often comes across that and notices it's centralized. There's not a ton of downsides to it because you can easily swap between different pools. You can boot up your own pool pretty simply if you know how to code. So it's a workaround, but there's better ways to decentralize this mining application where you can go straight from your own mining machine straight to the Bitcoin network and talk to it. And that's the ambition of Stratum V2. They're not quite there yet, and this is only one implementation. They've had Stratum V2 out since 2019, but it's missing a bunch of key features, including some censorship-resistant features, and that's what this update is trying to do. They're basically moving the lines every 1 yard, right? Because it's so hard to change Bitcoin. It's so hard to decentralize Bitcoin even further than it already is. But again, that leads you back to the importance of Bitcoin. It's hard to figure it out, a lot of these things, so it's hard to improve on top of Bitcoin. That's why it takes so much time to come up with different ideas to make it even more decentralized.